get inspiration from a lot of things. I get inspiration from poverty. I get inspiration from our leaders. You know, the past leaders, even the future leaders, I can see them. And I was looking back into the 60s, and I realized that the greatest people in the 60s were the likes of Martin Luther, Malcolm X, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and they all sort of always organized, you know, great people to bring them into one place, you know, and then send a message. And the message was like transcribed, transcended, you know, and became popular with a nation or a society. So I got that inspiration from the likes of Martin Luther, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, and I said that let me bring the 60s back into the 20s. You know, I felt like it's been 60 years, and today the leaders of the youth are no more this sort of leaders, but rather musicians and footballers. You know, they have become the leaders, but they are stars, and we need to respect them as stars. So I decided to bring 4 of the greatest, or some of the most greatest voices currently in Africa together. And so I picked 2 from the as an activist, and I picked 2 as politicians.
Okay, that's Julius Malema and Professor PLO Lumumba. You classify them as the activists?
No, Julius Malema is not
Peter
I would
Obi.
say more as Dr. Arikana and then PLO, more activists. But then when you look at the background of Malema, it's politics. When you look at the background of Peter Obi, he is the new face of politics, you know, how he caused a wonder within a year, you know. And so I decided to bring them together and then, first of all, you know, educate, motivate, inspire the youth, the leaders, and talk about national governance, continental governance, the future of Africa, where we're going, you know, just to spark a new sort of audience with what they're looking for that they haven't been getting in the past. So I had to also mix the musicians, you know, to perform, so it just doesn't become a raw speech. And I planned for the convention with my charity, which is the foundation. I planned
That's
for
the New Africa Foundation.
New Africa Foundation, because that's what we do. We have set up to be the foundation that builds nation. So we do different things. As you can see, we go to Turkey and we shelter them. We will go to Volta when the crises are there. We will shelter them. We'll give them food. You know, we will go to Chief Imam and try to bridge the religion between Muslims and Christians. So, you know, there's more peace in the country. These are the things that the charity does. And so I thought that regardless my ambition of running for president, it's also very important for me to bring such leaders into the country to highlight the country, so the continent will see the country, the value of the country. They will remember that this is the first country that gained the independence in Africa. This is the first country that moved Africans to fight for their independence, and it's the same country that have started to speak about international continental governance, the future of our youth, talking about our resources, the human resource and the mineral resources, bringing it all together, and then sparking the spirits of these Africans up to realize that 2024 is our year to change our continent, our country, and our people.
Well, but all these speakers that you brought together couldn't deliver the message that they came with. The objective you put this together was not realized, because on the morning, in fact, it was later in the day, on the 7th of January, that we got this letter, and we're going to put that on the screen right now, the revocation of the permit for you to use the Black Star Square for the Black Star Line Festival. That's what is on the screen. Then this came from the office of the president, revoking immediately the permission granted you per the letter dated 11 November 2023, which approved your request to use the Black Star Square for the above event. And the above event is Black Star Line Festival.
Great.
Now, they said the decision was because of some unforeseen state events scheduled for the same place and time of this particular convention event. And under the circumstance, they've refunded your 10,000 Ghana cedis to you.
Okay, so there's no such thing as this. If you bring the letter back down so we can get a clarity
Let's
with a
come
heading.
down a bit. Yeah,
Okay.
the Black Star Line Festival. Is that the
just
let's
bring
come
it down.
a bit.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, my question is, how many offices do we have for the president in the country? Because it looks like it's 2 or 3. But if it's 1, then we have different information. So if you have a copy of our receipt and the letter and the permit that the same office, office of the president has issued for New Africa Foundation, I would like us to put it. Okay. First of all, excuse me. First of all, the receipt that we got is 30,000. So if the government is showing 10,000, it's minus 2/3. Is this how the whole country behave in everything that we do, with our taxes, with everything that we do? Because we've paid the money, and you've issued us a receipt of 30,000 cedis.
You paid 30,000 cedis.
Yes, and then you have 10,000 cedis showing. We've also paid under the name of New Africa Foundation, and you've given us the permit, but you're using Black Star Line something. So why don't you bring us in
so
there?
this is it. So
this
let's calm down a bit.
Okay.
So this is from the... So this has a request to use Black Star Square, New Africa Foundation, Diaspora Affairs. This is the office of the president.
This is the receipt.
Diaspora Affairs.
There's a letter. There are 3 documents.
Okay, we'll show all of them. So this one says this is to acknowledge the receipt of payment for the Black Star Square venue to be used for a program for the 2nd to the 8th of January 2024. Payment details are as follows: use of the venue 5,000 a day for 6 days. Yes. 30,000.
Yes.
Service charge has been waived off because you didn't pay service charge. So you paid 30,000 for almost 7-day event.
No, it's not 7-day event. It's because you need 6 days to put up all the stages, all the work. So you have to pay for the days that you're going to be doing the work.
That's even the preparatory period.
Exactly. Okay. So they were aware from the 2nd and to the 8th. Of course, they knew the event is on the 7th.
Okay.
But on the 8th is when you tear down what you have put together. So that's really what it is. Let's go to the letter, please. I
see. So, but let's pull the letter out.
Can you come down a bit, because you see this is
So this is the temporary receipt.
Yes.
So this is from the office of the president.
Again,
it says this is a temporary receipt for payment of the Accra Independence Square venue for 2nd January 2024 to 8 January 2024.
Can I ask you a question?
An amount of 30,000 is paid, and an original receipt will be issued by State Protocol Department.
Yes.
And the person's name is there.
Yes,
so this was a temporary receipt.
Yes. Now, can I ask you a question? Do we think that there's another office that we have in Ghana that's for the president with the same stamp? Because, you know, I am kind of confused, and I'm trying to ask the nation. I want the nation to consider, you know, consider or put yourself in my shoes. Because, you know, I am going by the law. Pay me this, stamp, receipt, this, that, and then I go and invest $300,000 into an event, into something that will inspire the nation, the youth.
$300,000.
Yes. And then they just come and tear it down. There's a letter too.
So this is the cash receipt.
Yes. And
New Africa Foundation. So that's the name you applied to use the place
everything.
For, not Black Star Line Festival.
No. There's
a letter. 30,000 cedis, rental of Independence Square.
Yes, and there's a letter that said that, yes, we have the place. So it's all there. But why did they issue the letter in the name of Black Star something something? Now, let me tell you what I see funny here. Okay, this Black Star something something. Yes, they had an event here last 2 years, okay, on the 6th or on the 7th. And then that same people probably thought that they were going to do it the year after. But they kind of held it for them. So I called the people that were behind it, which is Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa. And they said, no, we're not using it. We're in Jamaica this year. So they sent an email to them saying that they're not using it.
The place.
So we went in, and then we finally got the place. Okay? Now, I want to compare what we did, the convention, to an event like Global Citizen. Global Citizen was supposed to highlight Ghana as one of the best places in Africa and a country that is peaceful to hold such events. I must say that these people were extremely successful. They raised $4 billion in doing 3 of these events in 3 different countries. However, they did not leave anything behind for us Ghanaians. They took the Global Citizen with them. They took the donations with them. But let's see how Ghana embraced them. The whole country went. These white people that had come from somewhere else in the world to do an event in our country, our leaders were there, our elders were there, our youth were there. We supported the event. We gave speeches to back the event. Now let's come to the convention. We brought 4 Africans who have spoken and spent 3 decades of their lives fighting for a better Africa. We brought them into Ghana to speak to the youth and to speak to the continent. The person that was behind the event is a Ghanaian. And the company or the group or entity, the NGO that invested in this initiative, it's also an establishment that is from Ghana, New Africa. Now watch how all of us were attacked. The speakers were attacked.
The speakers were attacked.
In a way, not attacked as violently, but they were stopped. It was cancelled. You know, we were restricted. We were pushed away from doing it. To the point I'm trying to make here is that when is Africans going to wake up that we are destroying our own, we are stopping our own, we are against our own, anything that is good, that is amongst ourselves, we find problems with it, even from our product that is made by ourselves to everything. I think we need to start to change our mindset. That's why I'm using the 2 events to explain to you that the foreign event is embraced. The foreign event is accepted. The foreign event is appreciated. But the local or the continental initiative, it's always
It's restricted. A fair point, but